In this video we're going to be looking at colour in Illustrator. So I'll get you to create a new document in Illustrator, File New. Now the important thing I want you to choose is a print profile. That's because the print profile creates a CMYK colour mode. And then change your page size to A3, the orientation to landscape, the units to millimeters, and click OK. So we can check whether our document is in CMYK or red, green and blue mode by going up to the File menu and down to Document Color mode. So colors are created in Illustrator as a color applied to an object as a fill or color applied to a stroke. And we can access our fill and our outline colors from the top here in the options bar or at the bottom of our toolbox. And at the top we've got some options in our panel section that enable us to control color. So the top one we have is our color panel and the color guide, and then we've got our swatches panel, and all of these panels help us to create and control color in Illustrator. So if I create a shape, just say a rounded rectangle, and I want to fill that with a color, I can choose a color from the top of the preset swatches that come with Illustrator. But in most cases, because you're a designer, you're going to want to create your own color palette. You're going to learn about color theory, and you're going to want to control the colors that you use within your artwork. So you need to be able to create colors. Now incidentally, if I want to change the color of my stroke, I can do so from this top section here as well, and I can adjust the thickness of the stroke. So that's a fairly ghastly color combination. I'm going to delete that and I'm going to create a new color. But first I'm going to remove some of these obstructions from the screen, and what I'm going to do is delete the color swatches that are default with Illustrator. And you'll find that most designers tend to do this. We will delete any of the swatches in our swatches palette that don't relate to the project that we're working on. To do that, we go up to this downward facing little white arrow and we choose select all unused colors, and then click on the trash can to delete swatch, and it'll ask if you want to delete them, and just click on yes. So now we're left with our 100% K, which is black and white and registration. So from here we can start creating a whole set of new colors that we choose. Now one way to do this is to use the color panel and open up the options and use the CMYK color sliders to mix colors. Now you will go through this in more detail in your finished art subject. However, I need to bring to your attention that we work with cyan, magenta, yellow and black for print projects, and they're represented by 100% cyan, 100% magenta, 100% yellow and 100% black. So you can mix those four colors and have a look at them, but a combination of all of these four colors creates all of the colors that will print for offset printing, outside of choosing Pantone spot colors. So in our sliders here we can either enter values. So if I say I would like my color to be 70% cyan and 30% magenta, you can anticipate yourself what might happen with the color. We've ended up with a blue that has a bit of magenta in it, that's kind of a softer blue. It's not such a harsh, vivid blue. So anytime you're dragging these sliders closer to white or less of the saturation of the color, you're softening the intensity of the colors. Now be warned, you can create some really muddy looking colors by mixing all four of them disproportionately. So just be aware of what you're doing when you're moving these sliders, and visually you will know when something looks good or it doesn't. I can drag that color and place it into my swatches panel, and it's telling me it's CMYK because it has this little CMYK icon on the right hand side here. And how about we just drag in some more colors. So now I've got cyan, magenta, yellow and black and a softer kind of blue, which I will show you what it looks like up against this other cyan swatch. It just has a softer appearance. I encourage you to play with the color slider and mix up your own colors and see what they look like and add them to the swatches panel for some practice. Another way to create new colors outside of using this color panel is to go to the swatches panel itself and choose new swatch from the bottom here, and it will bring up your CMYK slider, and you can make yourself new colors this way as well. And then when you click OK, the color will just pop straight into the swatches panel, and in some ways that may be an easier way to go about doing it. Now a swatch can have its color type changed from a process color to a spot color. So we call the CMYK color mode process colors, but there's another color mode that we use called spot colors to let you know where your spot color option is accessed from. All you need to do is double click on a CMYK color, and then you can choose a spot color from the color type, and that will change that color from process to spot, and it will let you know that it's a spot color because it will have this icon next to it. There is another system of colors that we use in graphic design called Pantone colors, and to find the swatch library you go up to Window, down to Swatch Libraries, down to Color Books, and to Pantone Solid Coated. It seems like a bit of a maze to get there, so I'll just leave that on the screen for a moment so you can find it if it's taking you some time to access it. So it's Window, Swatch Libraries, Color Books, and down to Pantone Solid Coated. Now there are a whole lot of other options here, but in the majority of cases you'll be specifying solid coated for your average job. And this is what these swatches look like. Now I have the swatches set on a large preview. Sometimes you'll see them like this in small preview, and other times you might see them as thumbnails. Small thumbnails, medium thumbnails, or large thumbnail view. Generally speaking, when I'm choosing Pantone colors, I will use my Pantone color book first and find a color that I like, and then I will go to Illustrator and I will match it up. And if you're looking for a particular color, say you're looking for Pantone 871, you put in 871 at the top here and it will find the color for you. And then you can drag that Pantone color swatch into your swatches panel and you can use it, and you see it comes up here with a spot color icon next to it. That's because your Pantone swatches are all spot colors. They're made up of solid inks, not of a combination of 4 colors to mix up the one color. But like I said, you'll go through all of the detail of CMYK and spot colors in your finished art subject. You'll sometimes hear Pantone colors referred to as PMS colors. PMS just means the Pantone matching system, and it's a universal color system that graphic designers use. And next you have a video to watch on the color guide, so I'll let you go to page 28 of your subtopic 2.3 for design software and watch that color guide video. It explains quite well how the color guide works. But what I will throw in at this point is something that video may not cover, which is Adobe Cooler. Now, Adobe has set up a website and which you can go to at cooler.adobe.com, and once you've logged into that, you can, through Illustrator, through the extensions from the Windows menu, bring up this Cooler palette, and then you can put keywords in to choose different color palettes that people have already uploaded to Adobe Cooler. So I might have a look at something like, I'll just put a keyword in that says sweet, because often we associate colors with feelings, emotions, and taste is one thing we associate color with. So I will just just type in the keyword of sweet and see what other people have created here for color swatches that reflect sweet. So say sweet 16, I'll choose this one. What I can do is add the selected theme to my color swatches just by clicking this button at the bottom of Cooler here, and all of these colors will pop straight in. It's always a good idea to make your colors global colors, because then you can access them and change them through your color guide, especially if you've got a color group, which you've seen in that previous video if you've watched it already. So now I've got Sweet 16 in here. I can go up to my edit color group. You can just swivel this slider around and all of those colors will remain in sort of proportionate distance to one another and swivel around that color wheel, and you can see on the top left here that the colors are slightly changing. So that's one way you can adjust that a whole group of colors in one go and create a new color set. You can also choose your hue, saturation and brightness sliders at the bottom here to adjust them, but I'll let you watch that video because it will give you probably more detail than I'll go through in this instance. And I can then, once I've made adjustments to this color set, choose a new color group, and there I've got a new color group that pops straight in to my swatches palette. So it's a great way of going from one palette and changing it, create something new.